Concerned what it hit for, cause I've still come to raise hell like Mephisto. Please don't front, cause I'll karate chop your lymph node. Noodle arm punk you punch and end up with your wrist.
This episode of NWA Power was an Empower episode of NWA Power, meaning it was women's only. And it was very interesting. It was very, very interesting. It wasn't bad, but you're not really going to hear much about it. So I figured I have to do an episode about it. So Empower, the women's episode of NWA Power, took place on October the 26th, 2021. And since it was mostly matches, there were some promos by guys, but it was mostly matches on this show, you know? And NWA continues to be one of the better shows to watch as far as just being able to just watch the show. But you can also often tell when things are a pastiche of other things. And you can tell that this taping was honestly taped right after the pay-per-view. Like it's from the Chase Hotel tapings, which I don't know how long they taped at the Chase, because they've done like 2 months of material from there so far. But let's get into the show. Let's see what we got here. The triple threat match for the women's championship. It was Chelsea Green versus Kylie Rae versus Melina. Melina wins with a small package, pinning Chelsea Green. I'm not a fan of triple threat matches. I think that in the NWA, I think the triple threat match is used as a gimmick to avoid having one-on-one matches, which is done, of course, so you won't blow the one-on-one match later on. Like, you know, Billy might see Melina versus Chelsea Green as being a big match. So instead of, doing it now, just throw Kaylee Ray in there. So it is a completely different match, I think that's his gimmick. Because there's no reason for most of these matches to be triple threat matches. The match itself was, I'm not a fan of anybody in this match. Melina is probably the closest I am of being a fan to somebody. And that's because I actually used to like Melina so much. I find her character nowadays to be okay, but they're really pushing this. Melina, you're a legend. They're pushing that stuff really hard. She cut a promo later as she says that tonight was the universe telling her that it was her time. That, the first championships she ever won in her career were NWA titles. She wasn't the NWA Women's Champion, though. But they were like, I think, some type of NWA thing in California. And that she says she believes that she was meant to hold the NWA Women's title. And that she has, made up her mind that she's going to make sure that Camille's reign ends. And, just sitting here thinking about it, I forget when the pay-per-view is. I want to say November the 4th, but I don't think that's the case. I want to say December the 4th. It's something, it's in that area, 6th or something like that. But it ought to be very interesting. So Camille is ready to go. She's ready to have her non-title match with Tootie Lynn. She's asked about Tom and Nick Aldis in a situation where I feel this was taped before they did the whole stretcher thing with Nick Aldis and the promo where Tom Latimer lost his mind. I feel like this was shot before that because it doesn't seem to build up off of that. Because this is the only reference to it. And Camille says in her response that Tom and Nick aren't her problem, and she's not concerned about them. And then she walks off. And I was like, okay, I guess that's part of, that's a part of the storyline. It makes sense. Even though she was seemingly whispering in Tom's ear when he was cutting the promo. But we don't know in what order the show was taped, I think Corgan was smart to not give any specifics because, why reference things that A, hasn't happened yet, or B, you didn't do, so just keep it simple and say, it's not none of my business. I don't know. So Camille defeats Tootie Lynn. It was a non-title match, but they surprised Camille with the announcement that if Tootie Lynn won, she would get a title shot. Camille was completely taken off guard by this, It seems to be new to her that if you are the champion and you lose a match, that you might have to defend the title against the person who beat you. You know, that's some type of new magic that she's never heard of before. But didn't matter. She won anyway. I wonder what are they going to do with 2D Land? Are they going to keep her around? She seems to be doing okay from what I saw. Maybe it was just for the St. Louis tapings. I don't know. The third match was Lady Frost versus Sky Blue in a Mildred Burke rules match, which are essentially old school NWA rules. No close fists, nothing off the top rope, and no over the top rope. You can't throw people over the top rope. And Lady Frost won with a schoolboy by rolling up the tights. Just simple heel cheating. She was considered doing a top rope move, but got stopped by Sky Blue. So it was interesting. They had to do something with the rules, I guess. I don't know if this match was warranted to have a special gimmick. It just did have it. I don't know. Kratos, the partner for Aaron Stevens, comes out there and says that him and Aaron Stevens need to be getting on the same page. That Aaron has to make a decision because he's not going to deal with all these inconsistencies, and that the ring is the most important place for him. And that, he was also kind of nudged to talk about the women. And he talked about, oh, yeah, the women, they rocked the house. They made all the guys motivated to, we got to beat them. We got to be better than them. And then Pero and Odinson of the End come out. And things got weird. Things got really strange. Kratos is like, okay, what do you guys want? And somehow we got onto the subject of Pero being jealous. I don't know how we got there. I'm not quite sure how we got there. Then Pero says, yes, I'm jealous. I'm the only gay man on the roster, and we are an actual tag team. And I'm like, wait a minute. Pardon? Look, I knew Pero was gay. That's not the problem. My problem is, why is that here? like, what does that have to do with you and Odinson being a real tag team? And he talked about how he earned his spot and they earned everything that they ever had to do, and that he's now on a mission to hurt everyone, whether it's men, women, the crowd, other wrestlers, commentators, Billy. He's going to hurt everybody until they get what they deserve. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But what did you mean? What are you jealous of? I didn't understand. And what do you being gay have to do with any of this? I just shrugged, man. Look, I don't know. I don't know. Let's just move on and pretend like we understood that promo outside of he's going to beat everybody up. All right, so the third match, Genocide and Paula Blaze were defeated by the Hex again. Allison Kay pinned Paula Blaze following the Hex's finish, their tag team finish. Kenzie Page came out to be in the Hex's corner and to counteract Taryn Terrell, who is still wearing stripper shoes. And she's the best part of that act, to be quite honest. Taryn Terrell is great. She's so annoying. She's super annoying. And it's not charming at all, but it's good heel stuff. Because she's almost like the head cheerleader that still hasn't grown up. Like the 43-year-old MILF who still kind of flirts with the high school boys. That's kind of how she comes across, So that's very interesting. They started doing some things with Pope where he started to leave commentary. He had been on commentary throughout the night. Then he had this big dramatic walkout where it's almost like he was hearing things. Like somebody was talking to him in his headset or somebody had whispered something to him. And they were like, oh, Pope, I guess Pope is leaving. And Pope left. So the main event of the show was the best match on the show, Kiera Hogan versus Mickie James. And this was a very clean, basic match. And the story, of course, is that they respect each other. Mickie James is Kiera Hogan's favorite wrestler. So they go in there and they work a regular wrestling match. There was a test of strength back and forth. They did, the bridge and everything. There was headlocks. There was head scissors, traditional wrestling stuff. Kiera Hogan threw the first strike, which was a forearm, and it took Mickie by surprise because it was well into the match. before she actually threw a punch of any or a strike of any kind. So, and it kind of went from Mickie was surprised that, she would do that, and she got a receipt. I think she kicked her in the face or something like that. But it went back to them doing clean, basic wrestling. And then Mickie James counters Sierra Hogan move into a roll up, and she pins her. And it went off air pretty fast. I would think that would have led to a story of Kiera Hogan being frustrated, which would have fed into maybe her upcoming heel turn, which they've been teasing for the last couple of weeks. And that's perfectly fine. I think this being the turning point where she tried to wrestle Mickie James cleanly, without any cheating, without any closed fists, without any, stomping or anything like that. And she wasn't able to do it. So it was decent. I just wish some of the matches had better storytelling. But it wasn't awful. I wish we had better promos too. Just because it's an all women's episode doesn't need to be only women, which I enjoyed that they didn't just leave it as only women. But they needed to do something to continue male feuds, and it's almost like the biggest one of them all, they kind of skipped over it, which of course is a consequence of not knowing when did they tape this. Did they tape it? They might have taped it before they did the whole feud with Tom Latimer, destroying Nick Aldis. They might have taped it before and then just decided to air it after, So there it is, but it was decent. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Your skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack yourself? I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's a reason why these sleazy guys